Picture this: a 72-year-old man, a retired carpenter whose calloused hands once transformed raw lumber into family homes, now lies awake in the darkness. The digital clock glows 3:17 a.m. His wife of 47 years sleeps peacefully beside him, her familiar warmth just inches away. Yet emotionally, he feels miles apart. For months now, a private battle has been waging in their bedroom. His erections, once reliable as the tools in his workshop, have become frustratingly unpredictable, present enough to remind him of what was, but too weak to deliver what could be. Each night becomes another reminder of intimacy slipping through his fingers. He's convinced himself this is just the price of seeing 7 decades, the inevitable surrender to time. This happens to every man my age, he tells himself, swallowing his disappointment. But what if I told you that age isn't the true culprit here? What if 4 specific nighttime habits, routines so embedded in his evening that they've become invisible to him, are actively undermining his performance? What if the same patterns are silently dismantling the confidence and connection of thousands of men over 70 across the country, not because their bodies have expired, but because their bedtime routines are working against their biology? I'm Dr. James Carter, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist who has dedicated over 25 years to helping men just like you. Devoted grandfathers, proud veterans, loving husbands, reclaim the vitality and intimate connection that every man deserves, regardless of his age. I've sat across from countless men in their 70s and 80s, watched them struggle to find words, seen the flash of vulnerability when they finally admit they're losing something fundamental to their identity. In nearly every case, these men had no idea that simple habits, particularly those right before bedtime, were systematically sabotaging their erectile function. This conversation isn't about pointing fingers or inducing shame. It's about arming you with honest information that can protect both your physical health and your sense of masculine confidence. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 4 dangerous nighttime habits that could be weakening your erections after 70. Each insight is grounded in clinical research and illustrated with real stories from my practice, with names changed, of course. More importantly, I'll provide straightforward, practical solutions you can implement starting tonight. Stay with me until the conclusion. The 4th habit is particularly insidious because almost no man suspects it, yet it could be silently draining your performance as we speak. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear, actionable plan to help you feel stronger, more connected to your partner, and fully present in every aspect of your life again. The first nighttime habit that could be weakening your erection is something many of us do without a second thought: eating a heavy meal too close to bedtime. Picture this: you've had a long day. Maybe you didn't eat as much as you planned during the afternoon, and by evening, you're starving. So you sit down to a big dinner, maybe with some rich foods, a hearty portion of meat, or even a dessert to top it off. It feels satisfying in the moment. But here's what happens when you eat like that just a couple of hours before bed. Your body, instead of resting and repairing itself while you sleep, gets stuck in overdrive, working hard to digest all that food. This can disrupt your sleep, raise your blood sugar, and put extra strain on your heart and blood vessels, all of which are critical for maintaining strong erections. Now think about a man named George, a 72-year-old I know, who used to love his late-night steak dinners. He'd eat around 8 or 9 p.m., then head to bed by 10, wondering why he felt sluggish in the morning, and noticed his energy and his erections weren't what they used to be. When he started shifting his heavier meals to earlier in the day, around 5 or 6 p.m., and choosing lighter options at night, like a small salad or some soup, he was amazed at how much better he slept. More than that, he started feeling stronger and more confident in his body again. That's the power of a small change. So what can you do about this? Try to finish your last big meal at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. If you're hungry later, opt for something light, a handful of nuts, a piece of fruit, or even a small bowl of yogurt. This gives your body a chance to wind down and focus on healing while you sleep, which supports better blood flow and hormone balance, both key for your vitality. It's not about giving up the foods you love. It's about timing them in a way that works with your body, not against it. Let's move on to the second habit, which might surprise you because it's something we often think of as relaxing: spending too much time in front of screens before bed. Whether it's watching TV, scrolling through your phone, or catching up on emails, those glowing screens can do more harm than you might realize. The blue light they emit tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime, which can mess with your ability to fall asleep deeply. Poor sleep doesn't just leave you tired. It can lower your testosterone levels and reduce blood flow, both of which directly affect your erections. I remember chatting with a friend, Tom, who's 74. He used to spend every evening watching late-night shows or checking news on his tablet. He'd fall asleep eventually, but he'd wake up feeling groggy, and he admitted he was struggling with his confidence in the bedroom. When he started putting his devices away an hour before bed and picking up a book or listening to soft music instead, he noticed a difference. His sleep improved, his energy came back, and he felt more like himself again. It's incredible how something as simple as cutting back on screen time can make such a big impact. Here's what you can try. About an hour before bed, put your phone, tablet, or TV aside. If you enjoy winding down with something engaging, try reading a physical book, jotting down a few thoughts in a journal, or even having a quiet conversation with your partner. If you absolutely need to use a device, consider turning on a blue light filter or wearing blue light blocking glasses. These small steps help your brain relax, improve your sleep, and support your body's natural rhythms, which can do wonders for your vitality. Now that we've talked about how late-night heavy meals and screen time can quietly work against your vitality, let's move on to another habit that might be slipping under your radar. It's something so many of us do without thinking, especially as we get older, but it can have a big impact on how strong and confident you feel. The third nighttime habit that could be weakening your erection after 70 is ignoring your body's need for proper hydration before bed. I know, it might sound simple, but hear me out. How and when you drink water in the evening can make a surprising difference. You might be thinking, I drink water during the day, so I'm fine, right? But here's what happens if you're not mindful about hydration at night. As we age, our bodies naturally hold on to less water, and if you're not getting enough in the evening, your blood can become slightly thicker, making it harder for it to flow smoothly. Good blood flow is absolutely essential for strong erections, and even mild dehydration can put a damper on that. Plus, if you're avoiding water because you're worried about getting up to use the bathroom, you might be unintentionally stressing your body in ways that affect your energy and hormone balance. Let me share a story about a man named Frank, who's 71. Frank used to sip coffee or maybe a glass of wine in the evening, but he'd skip water because he didn't want to disrupt his sleep with bathroom trips. He started noticing he felt sluggish, and his confidence in the bedroom was fading. When he began drinking a small glass of water about 2 hours before bed, Nothing too much, just enough to keep his body happy. He was amazed at how much better he felt overall. His energy improved, and he even noticed his erections were stronger. It was such a small change, but it made a world of difference. So what can you do to make this work for you? Try sipping a modest amount of water, maybe 8 ounces or so, about an hour or two before bed. This gives your body time to process it, so you're less likely to wake up in the middle of the night. If you're worried about bathroom visits, cut back on caffeine or alcohol in the evening, as those can irritate your bladder. Keeping a water bottle by your dinner table or armchair can be a gentle reminder to stay hydrated. It's not about chugging gallons of water. It's about giving your body the steady support it needs to keep your blood flowing and your vitality strong. Once you've got that hydration habit in place, the fourth habit we need to talk about will feel like a natural next step. This one's a bit sneaky because it's something we often don't connect to our health in the bedroom, but it's incredibly important: neglecting a consistent bedtime routine. Now, I'm not saying you need to live like a monk with a rigid schedule, but if you're going to bed at wildly different times each night, maybe staying up late to watch a movie one day, then crashing early the next, it can throw your body's internal clock out of whack. That internal clock, or your circadian rhythm, helps regulate your hormones, including testosterone, which plays a huge role in your erections and overall energy. Think about a friend of mine, Robert, who's 73. Robert used to have what he called free-spirited evenings. Some nights, he'd be up past midnight, reading or watching TV. Others, he'd be in bed by 9 p.m. because he was exhausted. He started noticing he wasn't sleeping well, and his confidence in the bedroom was taking a hit. When he committed to a simple routine, aiming to be in bed by 10:30 p.m. most nights, with a little wind-down time beforehand, he found his sleep deepened, his mornings felt brighter, and his body felt more responsive. It was like his whole system got a reset. Here's how you can ease into this yourself. Pick a bedtime that feels realistic for you, say between 10 and 11 p.m., and try to stick to it at least 5 nights a week. About 30 minutes before bed, create a small ritual to signal to your body that it's time to relax. It could be as simple as brushing your teeth, reading a few pages of a book, or doing some light stretching. If you like, you can even jot down a quick note about something you're grateful for. It's a nice way to end the day on a positive note. The key is consistency, not perfection. Even if you can't do it every night, aiming for a steady routine helps your body find its rhythm, which supports your hormones and blood flow in ways that can really boost your vitality. These two habits, staying mindful about hydration and building a consistent bedtime routine, are like quiet helpers working behind the scenes to keep your body strong and your confidence high. They're not flashy changes, but they're powerful because they're so doable. You don't need to overhaul your life. Just make these small tweaks and you'll start to feel the difference. As we've walked through these 4 nighttime habits, eating heavy meals too late, lingering in front of screens, skimping on evening hydration, and letting your bedtime routine drift, you might be starting to see how the little choices you make before sleep can add up. It's not about any one big mistake. It's about those quiet, everyday patterns that over time can either lift you up or weigh you down. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to turn your life upside down to feel stronger, more confident, and more connected to your vitality. Small, thoughtful changes, done with care, can light the way to feeling more like yourself again. Let's take a moment to think about what this all means. Aging brings its share of changes, and it's natural to notice shifts in your energy or your body's responses. But those shifts don't have to define you. By choosing to eat lighter in the evening, setting aside your screens for a quieter wind-down, sipping a bit of water to keep your body balanced, and easing into a steady bedtime routine, You're giving your body the support it needs to thrive. These aren't just habits for better erections. They're habits for better sleep, better energy, and a deeper sense of confidence that carries through every part of your life. I think about someone like John, a 70-year-old who watched one of my earlier videos and decided to try just one of these changes. He started by moving his big dinners earlier and swapping his late-night TV for a short walk around his living room. At first, he wasn't sure it would make a difference, but after a few weeks, he told me he was sleeping deeper, waking up with more pep, and feeling a spark of confidence he hadn't felt in years. That's what these small steps can do. They don't just change your nights, they change how you feel about yourself when the morning comes. You don't need to tackle all of these habits at once. Start with one that feels doable. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water a couple of hours before bed, or picking a bedtime you can stick to most nights. Give it a week or two and notice how your body responds. You might be surprised at how quickly you feel a difference, not just in your vitality, but in your mood and your outlook. From there, you can add another habit, building slowly, like laying bricks for a stronger foundation. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, night after night, in a way that feels kind and manageable. As you start to make these changes, be gentle with yourself. There will be nights when you eat a little later than planned or get caught up in a show. That's okay. What matters is coming back to these habits, trusting that they're working quietly to support you. You're not trying to change the whole world, just creating a little more space for your body to feel strong, your mind to feel clear, and your spirit to feel alive. That's a gift you deserve, and it's within your reach. If this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know which habit you're thinking about trying, or maybe share a small change you've already made that's helped you feel better. Your story might inspire someone else watching, and that's how we lift each other up. If you found this helpful, please give it a like. It helps others find these ideas too. And if you'd like more simple, heartfelt ways to stay healthy and vibrant, don't forget to subscribe. There's so much more we can explore together to make every day feel a little brighter. Here's to waking up tomorrow feeling a bit stronger, a bit more confident, and a lot more like the man you've always been. You've got this.